Hey guys, Cheri from The Watering Mouth here, reporting to you about a news story that's occurring right now, which is that actress Carrie Fisher is dead at age 60 from a heart attack. According to People.com, Friday, Fisher was on board an 11-hour flight from London to Los Angeles when she went into cardiac arrest. After the plane landed just after noon in California, she was rushed to the hospital. For a while there, we all thought she was out of the woods, everything seemed fine, but then there was another story today telling us that she passed away at 8:55 this morning. Why am I bringing up this news? Well, first of all, because I think that these are opportunities for us to learn something. And the first thing to say, of course, is I'm so sorry to her family. I know how this feels. I know how it feels to have somebody who's so close to you that has a heart attack and dies of an issue like this that is typically food and nutrition related. Now just imagine, take your age, take Carrie Fisher's age, 60, subtract, find out how many years you would have left if this was you. 60 is so young. The problem is when you're in your 20s, when you're in your teens, you don't really think about those ages much because it seems so far away from you. But for those of us who are in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and even past 60, the fact that you can die at such a young age just shows how precious our life is, that it can be gone so quickly without even knowing what's happening. 1 minute you're on a plane, the next minute you're in a hospital, a few days later you're gone. It's too fast. That's way too fast for anybody to go. And we've had a few stories like this over this holiday season. First we had Alan Thicke earlier. Just a couple days ago we had George Michael. And now we have Carrie Fisher. All three of these stories have heart attacks as the main reason behind the death. It's unclear whether or not these were genetically related or if they were nutrition related. But let's just explore that for a second, because according to The End of Heart Disease, which is a book that came out this year, very recent studies and scientific information that's available now, right now, that we're just learning. This book is The End of Heart Disease by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I'm going to put a link for this down below. Please buy it. Please get this book and please read it. You can either read the book, you can get the audiobook version and just listen to it while you're in your car, while you're out for a walk, whatever is easiest for you to take this information in, or just watch my videos. Keep watching my videos. I talk about this stuff all the time. I give you little snippets every single day of information like this that will help save your life. Let's talk about that for a second, because people are always like, oh, it could have been genetic, it could have been genetic. Fewer than 1% of the people who have advanced valve damage or genetic defect or electrical pathway disease, fewer than 1% of the people have heart attacks because of, or heart issues because of genetics. That means over 99% of the population who dies of heart disease dies because of nutritional things that are reversible. If you don't know this, heart disease is the leading cause of death for both men and women in the US. And here we are seeing a woman that's having a heart attack. We never hear about this, right? We never hear about women. We always hear about men. Here's an example of it. A woman who had a heart attack and died at age 60. In fact, cardiovascular diseases claim more lives than all forms of cancer combined. Heart disease claims more lives than all forms of cancer. And about half of these needless deaths are caused by sudden cardiac death, meaning they don't even have time to get to the hospital. They die immediately after symptoms begin. And 55% of the men and 68% of the women who die of sudden cardiac death have no prior warning of significant heart disease, meaning that probably even just like Carrie Fisher had no idea that there was something wrong with her heart, or maybe she did, but so many people, over half of the people that die of heart disease have no idea that they have it, and they die on the first heart attack. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit more information in a second, but if you're interested, and you should be, please read this book. Link for it is down below. This is something we can prevent. This is something that we can fix in our own lives. We don't have to go through this. Our family members don't have to go through this. Our children don't have to go through this. It just goes to show you that nobody is exempt from this kind of issue. Nobody's exempt. We all are going to have this if we don't take control. So I want to just take this opportunity to give you guys a little bit more information. Like I did on my Alan Thicke video, feel free to go back and watch that one. It has some good excerpts that I'm about to read to you. I'm going to read to you a little different section of this book today, but feel free to go back to my Alan Thicke video and watch a little bit about that as well. That will give you some more information. So I just want to talk today about generally, very basically, what is a heart attack? This is the doctor that I follow nutritionally. Most of my videos have something to do with this lifestyle, which is called Eat to Live, nutritarian lifestyle. And you can find out so much more information in his books, on the rest of my videos. And if you follow along with me, you'll continue to get more and more information like this every single day. I post a video every day. Make sure you check back and you can find out more about how to take your own health into your hands instead of relying on fate in the future. So I want to give you a little information. This comes from page 49 and just what is heart disease. And I think it's important to read this because we often just hear heart disease, heart attack, coronary artery disease, all these things, and we don't really have any idea what that means. So let's just do a little mini course here. I'm just going to read a couple pages for you guys so you can know a little bit more about it. I'm going to start here with a case history, which is proof from a patient of Dr. Fuhrman's. So a 47-year-old, 240-pound man with high blood pressure and high cholesterol was evaluated with Doppler ultrasound of his carotid arteries and found to have an 80% obstructed carotid artery on the left side. His physician warned him that he was at high risk of having a stroke and suggested he have a carotid endarterectomy to remove the obstructive plaque. He read my book, Eat to Live, changed his diet, and lost 80 pounds in 1 year. His high blood pressure resolved, but most surprisingly, his LDL cholesterol levels dropped exactly 80 points too. A repeat ultrasound of his carotid artery demonstrated only a 40% obstruction, meaning that half had melted away. 2 years after he began my dietary recommendations, no plaque was detectable on his ultrasound. No plaque, guys. It is possible to remove every single bit of problematic plaque inside of your veins with a nutritional approach. That is the main thing here, okay? So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what an actual heart attack is so you can understand more physically what happens in your body. So this is the same page 49. What is heart disease? Your heart is a powerful muscle that pumps 3,000 gallons of blood through your body each day. Like other muscles, it requires a continuous supply of energy and oxygen. But because it's always working, the heart is a large utilizer of oxygen in the body. The heart gets the oxygen and nutrients it needs from the coronary arteries, which supply it with blood. Most heart disease is coronary artery disease, or CAD. When enough obstruction and resistance to blood flow occurs, the heart muscle experiences a restriction in blood flow, or ischemia, which can result in chest pain or angina. Ischemia causes a shortage of the oxygen and glucose needed for cellular metabolism and healthy tissues. If the blood flow in that vessel is suddenly and completely cut off, the death of that section of heart muscle can occur. This results in a heart attack or myocardial infarction. Most heart attacks are caused by a clot that forms within the blood vessel and enlarges to the extent that obstructs the flow of blood. Clots are prone to form in areas where there is plaque with a thin, calcified cap that is most vulnerable to cracking or rupture. If the hard surface of the plaque cracks or tears, the soft fat inside is exposed, spilling into the lumen, which is the open center of the artery, and releasing inflammatory cytokines that attract platelets to the site of the injury. When these platelet cells clump together, they can form a clot large enough to block the artery. For years, doctors thought that the main cause of heart attacks was the buildup of fatty plaque. They believed that over time, the vessel would become so narrow that the flow would become compromised, and eventually the vessel would close up or be clogged. Now we know that the facts are much different. Most of the large clots that create heart attacks occur in parts of the heart where the arteries are not severely narrowed. Instead, they occur in areas where the plaque is soft and has a thinner cap, sitting on an unstable cholesterol-laden base. The propensity of plaque to rupture and create a complication or infarct depends on two other important criteria: the tensile strength, destabilizing pressure on the fibrous cap, and the amount of inflammatory white blood cells, leukocytes, that have infiltrated the lipid segment. Older, more stable plaques whose inflammatory reaction has cooled have been infiltrated by more smooth muscle and more fibrotic tissue and have thicker calcified caps. The bases of these older plaques are also under less stress. The bases of these older plaques are also under less stress than the stress at the periphery of non-obstructing eccentric plaques of varying density and consistency. The older, more stable plaques, though more uniform, are larger and more likely to obstruct blood flow, leading to angina. Those are the plaques typically treated with angioplasty and stenting, yet they are not vulnerable plaques, and it's not likely to initiate a clot that can cause an infarction. Now we know that a certain type of plaque and a certain type of biochemical event most often trigger a heart attack. These plaques are often not visible to conventional cardiac testing, such as stress tests and angiograms, because they do not obstruct blood flow or impinge on the vessel lumen sufficiently to be visualized by such tests. Let me say that again. You can't do testing that will tell you you're going to have a heart attack. You can't know. You can't, even the stress tests, the EKGs, the things that they have you do at the doctor's office, those are not the things that are going to tell you what's going to happen to you. The important takeaway message here is how important it is to be able to understand what distinguishes risky coronary plaque from stable coronary plaque. It's important to recognize that plaque can become stable with dietary excellence, and it can become unstable relatively quickly with dangerous eating. That's why we hear of so many holiday heart attacks, because you get such a high level of this crazy dangerous eating, like I actually did, unfortunately. And this causes a lot of instability. It is the more recently deposited and more recently modified plaque resulting from eating dangerously that can create vulnerable plaque and make semi-vulnerable plaque more vulnerable, precipitating a cardiac event. Angioplasty and bypass surgery do not fix or address the vulnerable plaque in a person's coronary circulation. These procedures mostly address the least dangerous old plaque and therefore have no effect on reducing the risk of future cardiac events. However, eating carefully in the manner prescribed in this book can immediately make plaque less vulnerable by reducing inflammatory cells, reducing soft plaque, and reducing tensile stress. Superior nutrition stabilizes both the base of the plaque to keep it from rupturing and the cap of the plaque to keep it from cracking. If you go back and watch my video on the Alan Thicke's death, it gives a lot of more information about this holiday heart attack and a little bit more information about heart attacks. So I urge you to go back and watch that video as well. I'm going to link that for you. You can just click that and watch it. That's all I have to say in this video. It's kind of a long one. I wanted to give you some really good basic information on what a heart attack is so you can have some idea that now we know a lot more than we used to, and probably the information that's in your head, unless you've read this book or recent books on how to prevent heart attack from doctors such as these with the latest studies and the latest information, unless you're up to date on that, you wouldn't necessarily know this stuff. So it's important to keep these in mind and know that superior, excellent nutrition can prevent every single one of these kinds of issues that you might have in store for yourself in the future. My heart goes out to Carrie Fisher's family, especially at this time of the year. I hope you guys all had a great Christmas and that you're all going to have a great new year. And let's think about becoming healthier for the next year. And not just this resolution idea of losing weight or looking a different way, but actually trying to fix what might be happening inside of our bodies right now. Most of us, I think the figure is around 80-90% of us have heart disease already in our hearts. Most children have heart disease in their hearts already because of the way that we eat and the way that we're raised. Let's think about trying to reduce this in our future so that we don't have to go through the same thing and we don't have to put our families through the same thing. Like always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video and you want to see more of this, hit the like button, comment, subscribe please to my channel. You'll get more and more of these videos as I put them out, including some healthy recipes, some great tips on how to eat healthy and how to incorporate this type of eating style into your life right now. That's all I have for right now. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye.